Hello everybody and welcome to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. You already know who I am. This is Game Changers where we look at both sides, Manchester United and West Ham. We look at the strong points, we look at the weak points, and we look at where West Ham can win this game and where Manchester United are a real threat. Let's get straight into it before we move on. Let's start with this man, hugely influential in that Manchester United side, Bruno Fernandes. Listen, there are a lot of superlatives about the bloke. His movement in general is fantastic for Manchester United. He's able to draw defences out. He can pick the ball up in deep areas as well and drive with the ball. He'll do it less so in this Manchester United side, given that he's not really an 8. He plays that 10 role. He tries to link up the play. He can shoot from outside the box. He can link up play with the number 9. I think he's massively benefited, particularly in that Southampton game with the likes of Donny van der Beek, Cavani in front of him now. I think he's improving in that sense, and he's got players and willing runners off him. We've seen as well the quickness of thought, particularly for Marcus Rashford against Leipzig, when he's figured it out, seen him on the halfway line and found the pass. He's a fantastic player and he offers a variety of different assets that West Ham potentially may struggle with. Now, I think this is a huge test for Declan Rice and Thomas Souček defensively in this game, because I think you've got 3 attacking midfielders from Manchester United that they have to contend with. Fernandes being the one that typically picks the ball up in those central areas and tries to get it into the forward men. Like I've said, he can come to either wing, pick up the ball, try and draw West Ham out of position. You'd be looking at both Rice and Souček in this sense to be really disciplined and essentially to try and nullify him and push him deep. I think Bruno Fernandes, albeit I do think has got a good shot from range as well, and we've seen that in recent weeks. If we can push him in a little bit into Manchester United's half and put him into an area where he's less effective, it's fantastic for West Ham, because I look at him and I think he's the key man that can link up, particularly with that transition from midfield to attack and find that key pass or that key shot on target. So a massive threat for Manchester United. For me, there's no surprise that he's one of their most influential players. And, you know, you've seen the goals and assists, quite rightly so, particularly with his movement. Now, onto a man that I think West Ham can exploit. And I think you all thought it was going to be Harry Maguire, but in fact, it's going to be Victor Lindelof. And these are the reasons why. Yes, Harry Maguire lacks mobility. Of course he does. But typically, he's very good in the air. He's got decent distribution as well, as I've said, to both wings or into the forward man. Those are positive elements of his play. Victor Lindelof is similar in terms of mobility, but it's his aggressiveness and his lack of patience to try and win the ball and keep off opposition strikers. And I think this plays into West Ham's hands massively here. I think someone like Sebastien Haller, possibly Mikel Antonio, comes into the side later on in the game. I think he's going to be anxious to try and win that ball, to come out of position. Now, that's really dangerous from the perspective of the United back four, particularly when you've got Harry Maguire and particularly when those fullbacks push up, because those two at times will be isolated. Now, if you can isolate Harry Maguire after taking Victor Lindelof out of the play and West Ham push on Benrahma or Jarrod Bowen, it's going to be easy for West Ham to create chances and get in behind. And I just think Victor Lindelof is a little bit rash in that sense. And it's just an area that West Ham can really exploit, but have to exploit in terms of the decent hold-up play from Haller, which I've said he's improving in week on week now, but also the pacing behind and the use of Bowen, Benrahma, the directness, the ability to take on the man. This is a real opportunity for West Ham to utilise Manchester United's press, where they push the 2 defensive midfielders up and find a man in Victor Lindelof that's a bit too aggressive to try and win that ball and exploit and get it in behind. So a weak point from Manchester United's perspective. I think this really only works when Manchester United are, of course, in the press, when Manchester United are sitting back and trying to soak up pressure. Even if Lindelof's a little bit aggressive, he has got that defence from either Matic or McTominay or Fred. So not something that I would expect to happen, particularly if West Ham press United. I don't expect that to be the case. I expect United to press us. And I look at Victor Lindelof and I say, that is the guy that we can try and expose. Now, onto West Ham. I've actually picked 2 positives for West Ham this week, and one kind of negative, but also a positive. But these 2 players for me, they came in against Aston Villa. They changed the game immediately. They didn't put a foot wrong in my eyes in a real overall poor performance by the team. Let's get into it. First and foremost, Sebastien Haller. And there's no negatives about Sebastien Haller in this game. I think this is a really good game for Haller. And the reason why I say this is, when I spoke about Sheffield United, I said that the transition in terms of that counter-attack and in Aston Villa, I thought Mikel Antonio was perfect for that through the quickness of the transition. Now, against Manchester United, there will be a pocket of space that does appear just in front of the 2 centre-backs when they're on the press and just behind the 2 defensive midfielders. Now, this gives Haller a perfect opportunity to slot into space that he is going to find in a naturally deep position. He isn't going to have to try and run and transition with the ball from his own half like we've seen in previous weeks, and that has been the ask of him. In this sense, it very much so, he can keep hold of the ball, He can work against Victor Lindelof's aggressiveness. I believe aerially he's fantastic at win the ball. His hold-up play is improving. His ability and his awareness of the players around him is also improving. This is a real good game for Sebastien Haller. I think he gets the better of Victor Lindelof. I think he can work well with the forward men around him. And I think he will actually create the chances. I don't expect this to be a game for Haller to get on the end of things, to use his decent striker movement. Obviously, the lack of pace means that he isn't going to run from deep. But just in terms of his overall hold-up play, his awareness and his improvement in using the ball more effectively, I think this is a great game for him. And I think we're going to see a lot of his key attributes in this game, and particularly in terms of chance creation. So I am looking forward to that. Now, onto this man. Now, it was someone that I thought, and this is obviously with the caveat that if he does start or not, I thought maybe not the game for him, and I think particularly if Manchester United are in that defensive shape, it would be hard for Benrahma. I look at the right-hand side for Manchester United. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is fantastic one-on-one. And I think, okay, right, well, he surely get the better of Benrahma. He definitely get the better of Fornals, in my opinion. You'd be able to isolate him. But I just think with Manchester United's press and Benrahma's ability to get in behind, we've seen the quality of his delivery as well for the likes of Jarrod Bowen against Aston Villa. This is a great game for him. And like I've said with the Haller situation in terms of him picking up a pocket of space in front of the defence, we know Benrahma likes to come in a little bit central, can play a little bit of a 10 role. That would suit him down to the ground. And I think the space that Manchester United are going to vacate, particularly when they push the fullbacks up, and particularly with the two centre-backs pushing high. Listen, Haller, Benrahma, they're going to find space. They're not going to walk into a really solid defensive structure, and I back both of them to work well together. And again, what we've seen from Benrahma is ability to get in behind, particularly against Fulham as well. Fulham sat deep on us. They packed the midfield. It was hard to try and create chances, but Benrahma's got the ability in order to take on a man. So in that sense, he could take on the two centre-backs directly, or he can link up with either Jarrod Bowen or Sebastien Haller. It is a fantastic game for him. Now, I have said Manchester United press. It doesn't mean that they don't come back, obviously. Whether it's Matic, Fred, they throw numbers back. Where the opportunity to isolate them and the opportunity to create chances comes from is where one of the fullbacks pushes up, the other fullback comes across. And I just think even if Manchester United create almost like a back three at times, they're out of position, they're having to cover for each other, and you would back in terms of Haller's ability to draw the defence out, and both Benrahma's and Bowen's direct movement to get in behind, the West Ham will massively benefit from that and that structure. So I believe it's a big game for Benrahma and Sebastien Haller. They've proved their worth against Aston Villa. I believe they've proven it over the past few weeks as well. It's a perfect opportunity for them to start, and it's a perfect opportunity for them to exploit Manchester United. And listen, I'm not going to get ahead of myself 100%. It's going to be a tough game, and I've covered it in the predicted 11. Manchester United will put pressure on West Ham, have got fantastic runners from midfield, have got opportunities in terms of deliveries from the likes of Alex Telles. There's so many avenues. Cavani adds new mobility to them that could trouble us. But I just think, particularly with that defence of Manchester United, what we saw earlier in the season, I look at our front three and I just think it's perfect to really isolate them and to get in behind. We've potentially got the option as well of Mikel Antonio coming off the bench. So it is a game that I think suits West Ham. I wouldn't obviously advise David Moyes to try and press Manchester United. For me, that's dangerous. And I think you see the likes of Rashford are more natural, better in the transition when a team presses against them. So I'd advise against that. And I think if West Ham play a bit of a low block, we're defensively disciplined and we can find it to the forward three, I think we'll have a lot of joy. Which obviously is easier said than done. Man United will have a lot of the ball. But in any case, I'm looking forward to the game. It is going to be a great game. Hopefully it'll be exciting. Fingers crossed West Ham can get a good result and we'll push on from this fifth place that we're already in at the moment. So listen, thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Like the video, like the other video as well. It all helps. Fans' Voice is back on Saturday, where we're going to preview the Manchester United game, talk everything Jack Grealish and Aston Villa as well, because that was a huge talking point. And then, of course, on Saturday evening, I will return with Dennis and Charles for the watch-along at 5 o'clock, I believe. We have the pre-match build-up, we'll have all the tactics, all the formations, and our score predictions as well. So I'm buzzing for that. It's a busy, busy week of content. And thank you so much for watching. Take care.